What do the super rich and the super poor have in common?
Do you wonder what really unites the super rich and the super poor? The answer is not in money, not in external circumstances, but in mentality. Or that these two financial realities in common can be key to transforming your life. If it is said that only the rich have the secret of prosperity, or that the poor are condemned to a life of scarcity, prepare for a revelation. The last secret is the most powerful of all. Check out the end to discover how you can change your mindset and raise your own fortune.
Chapter 1. The Success of the Super Rich Mindset.
When we think of the super rich, it's easy to imagine luxurious mansions, expensive cars, and a life of excess. But what really defines the world's richest people is not just what they own, but how they think and act in relation to money and success. Mindset is a crucial factor in achieving and maintaining wealth. We often see the super rich making decisions that at first glance seem simple, but are extremely calculated and strategic. The difference between the rich and the poor is not just how much they earn, but how they manage their money. The first thing you need to understand is that the super rich have a long-term mindset. They think in terms of generations and not just in terms of immediate gains. A good example of this are families that have preserved fortunes for centuries. They are not only focused on the present, but also on how to create a solid foundation for future generations. They invest in assets that appreciate over time, such as real estate, art, and businesses that have long-term growth potential. For the super rich, the concept of making money is very different from what most of us imagine. While many people seek to make a quick buck through hard work, the rich prefer to create passive income streams. This means that instead of trading their time for money, they create systems and investments that generate money for them, even while they sleep. The way they think about time is another key point. The rich know that time is their most precious resource, so they always look for ways to optimize it. They delegate tasks, build teams, and focus on the activities that truly generate value. They don't let themselves get distracted by small, mundane tasks because they know that time is limited. In addition, the super rich have a constant growth mindset. They are always learning, adapting, and seeking new opportunities. It's no coincidence that successful entrepreneurs like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and Elon Musk are avid readers and are constantly looking for ways to expand their knowledge. They know that in order to maintain and grow their wealth, they need to stay ahead of trends and the market. When we talk about the habits of the super rich, it's important to note that they have a financial discipline that allows them to maintain their wealth. They are very careful with their spending and investing. While many people believe that the rich spend without limits, the reality is that they are more careful than most. They prefer to spend their money on assets that increase in value over time, such as real estate and financial investments, and they avoid excessive consumption. This brings us to a fundamental question. So why do so many people who make a lot of money end up broke? The answer lies largely in the lack of this mindset. Many people who make large sums of money do not have the discipline or the right habits to preserve and multiply their wealth. They spend without thinking, do not invest properly, and eventually the money disappears. The super rich also know that true wealth comes not only from hard work, but from the ability to create and identify opportunities. They understand that by forming strategic partnerships, investing in innovative ideas, and leveraging their resources, they can grow their wealth exponentially. It's this mindset that separates them from those who make money but never manage to accumulate lasting wealth. In short, the mindset of the super rich is focused on longevity, continuous learning, optimizing time, and of course, making money. work for them, not the other way around. If you want to understand how the rich think and apply these principles to your own life, the first step is to change your mindset. After all, without the right mindset, no amount of money will be enough to achieve true wealth.
Chapter 2. The behavior of the super rich in the investment market.
One of the main pillars that sustain the wealth of the most powerful families in the world is their behavior in the investment market. Contrary to what many people think, the super rich do not earn their fortune solely through high salaries or through a single successful investment. They have a unique and strategic approach that makes them masters in preserving and expanding their wealth. The first thing you need to know is that the super rich invest intelligently, diversifying their sources of income. They do not rely on a single investment area, but spread their resources across a series of different assets. This can include real estate, stocks, hedge funds, private equity, and even early-stage startups. By diversifying their portfolio, they are able to reduce risk and increase the chances of long-term success. But while this diversification is essential, there is something even more important. The super rich know when to invest in something really big. They are not afraid to take calculated risks, especially when it comes to innovations and new technologies. Think of people like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, who invested huge sums of money in tech companies before they exploded into success. They were able to see opportunities where others saw risks, and that made all the difference. What's more, the super rich are not in a rush to make immediate profits. They are much more focused on the long term. When you look at the world's greatest investors, you'll notice that they invest patiently, knowing that the real value of their assets will increase over time. For example, Warren Buffett is known for investing in companies that he believes will thrive for decades, and he is willing to wait until those investments truly appreciate. Patience is a fundamental virtue when it comes to investing. One thing that sets the super rich apart from the rest is their ability to understand and harness the power of compound interest. They don't just make money from their investments, they make that money work for them. Instead of spending their savings on consumer goods, they reinvest it, taking advantage of compound interest to further increase their wealth. This is a fundamental secret that you need to understand. Wealth does not come from what you earn, but from what you do with what you earn. Another key point is the focus on ongoing financial education. The super rich know that the market is constantly changing, and that in order to stay on top, they need to keep learning. They dedicate a large portion of their time and energy to educating themselves on new investment opportunities, emerging technologies, and financial strategies. This is not a coincidence. It is a strategic choice that they make every day. Unlike many who are content with simple and traditional investments, the super rich are constantly looking for new frontiers, exploring less conventional areas, such as cryptocurrencies, art, and even social and environmental investments. They know that the best investment opportunities often lie on the margins, where others are not looking. If you want to follow in their footsteps, you need to adopt the same mindset of seeking innovation and diversification. But what about risk? Of course, the super rich are not risk-averse. However, contrary to what many people think, they are not reckless. They have a calculated and strategic approach. Each investment is carefully considered, and before making any decision, they conduct a detailed analysis of possible scenarios. The key here is that although risk is an inevitable part of the process, the super rich have complete control over it, rather than letting it dictate their actions. In short, the behavior of the super rich in the investment market is fundamentally different from what most people are familiar with. They do not focus solely on making a quick buck, but on building a portfolio of solid assets that grow over time. They diversify, invest in innovation, maintain a long-term vision, and above all, understand the power of compound interest and ongoing financial education. To achieve this level of success, you need to change your approach to money and investing. Start seeing the market not as a way to make a quick buck, but as an opportunity to build sustainable and lasting wealth. And remember, the super rich invest smartly and strategically. Now it's up to you to learn how to apply these strategies on your own path to financial freedom.
Did you like these strategies to achieve financial freedom? Then leave a like and subscribe for more content that will transform your life.
Chapter 3: The long-term impact of daily habits on wealth.
If you want to be truly wealthy, how you spend your days is more important than any major financial decision. It's easy to think that building wealth comes from big investments or bold moves, but the reality is that the daily habits of the super rich are what truly put them on top. Every little behavior throughout the day contributes to their long-term success or failure. The first crucial habit that the super rich cultivate is financial discipline. They don't spend impulsively or make emotional purchases. The majority of their wealth is built through a relentless focus on saving and investing. They know that every dollar saved and reinvested for the future is one step closer to solid financial freedom. And this discipline doesn't happen overnight. It's developed over years of consistent practice. But what many don't realize is that true discipline goes beyond money. The super rich are disciplined with their time too. They don't waste time on activities that don't add value to their lives or goals. From the moment they wake up until the moment they go to sleep, every hour is planned and dedicated to activities that move them closer to their financial and personal goals. This time management is one of the most powerful secrets to achieving great things. Another habit that stands out among the super rich is their focus on constant learning. They are always reading, studying, or absorbing new information. Warren Buffett, for example, dedicates about 80% of his time to reading. They don't just rely on what they know. They know that knowledge is a valuable asset that grows over time. Continuous learning is not just about getting rich, but about expanding your mindset, understanding new opportunities, and essentially becoming a better version of yourself every day. Additionally, one of the most underrated habits of the super rich is the practice of gratitude. It sounds simple, but gratitude has a profound impact on our mindset and behavior. Studies show that grateful people are more likely to achieve their goals, as their positive outlook helps them overcome challenges. And the super rich know this. They practice gratitude daily, which allows them to maintain a positive and resilient mindset, even in the face of difficulties. But of course, there's another aspect that is crucial to financial success. The super rich know how to prioritize their tasks and goals. They have a clear vision of what they want to achieve and break these goals down into measurable and achievable targets. Each day is an opportunity to move one step closer to achieving these goals. And contrary to what many people think, they are not afraid to say no to things or people that might divert their attention or distract them from their main focus. Another powerful habit that keeps the super rich at the top is the growth mindset. They believe that they can always improve and that failure is just an opportunity to learn and grow. This mindset allows them to see mistakes as lessons, not defeats. When something goes wrong, they don't give up, but rather adjust their approach and try again. This is what separates the successful from those who give up at the first obstacle. It's also interesting to note that while many people think that the super rich are always surrounded by luxury and extravagance, the reality is quite different. Most of the world's richest individuals live relatively simple lives, at least in terms of spending. They prefer to invest their money in assets that will grow over time, rather than spending it on things that lose value. Their mindset is, invest, don't spend. This doesn't mean that they don't enjoy the good things in life, but rather that they prefer to spend their money strategically and wisely. In short, the daily habits of the super rich are, in fact, the big differentiators that put them on a completely different financial level than the rest. Financial discipline, time management, continuous learning, gratitude, goal focus, and a growth mindset are just a few examples of behaviors that shape their lives. By incorporating these habits into your daily life, you will be creating a solid foundation for a prosperous and sustainable financial life. If you want to reach the level of wealth of the super rich, don't wait for a magic formula or a miracle investment. Instead, focus on improving your daily habits. Every small choice, every daily action contributes to your financial future. So start now. Be more disciplined with your money, manage your time wisely, and most importantly, never stop learning.
Chapter 4. The importance of relationships and contact networks to build wealth.
Wealth isn't built solely through financial skills and smart investments. It also depends on something many forget: the people you associate with. If you want to build a financial empire, you must learn to surround yourself with the right people. The relationships you cultivate and the networks you build have a direct impact on your long-term financial success. This doesn't mean you should only seek out wealthy friends or successful business partners. What really matters is the quality of your relationships. The super rich know that a circle of friends and partners focused on mutual growth and success is one of the greatest assets anyone can have. They surround themselves with mentors, advisors, and others who challenge them, share their ambitions, and offer new and valuable perspectives. These people help them see opportunities where others see obstacles. One of the most powerful secrets of the super rich is building a strategic network. They don't just seek out business contacts. People seek out people who can add value to their lives, whether in terms of knowledge, perspectives, or new opportunities. This creates a virtuous cycle. The more you invest in the right relationships, the more opportunities will come into your life, and often it is these opportunities that make the difference between financial success and failure. In addition, it is important to understand that relationships in the business world are two-dimensional. It is not just about looking for what you can gain from someone, but also about how you can contribute to that person's life and success. Reciprocity is key. Successful people focus on helping others because they know that what is given eventually comes back. Be a mentor, offer your help, and share your knowledge. Wealth creation is not a solitary journey, and you need a support network to achieve success. Now, you may be wondering, how do you start building this powerful network of contacts? Well, it all starts with your attitude. Be genuine in your relationships. Seek to offer value before asking for anything in return. Attending networking events, engaging with like-minded people, and always seeking to learn more from those around you are fundamental practices for creating valuable connections. The more you invest in your circle of contacts, the stronger your financial position becomes. Don't underestimate the power of networking. What you learn from others, the connections you make, and the opportunities that arise through these relationships can be the deciding factor in your financial rise. Have you ever stopped to think about how many opportunities you missed simply because you weren't surrounding yourself with the right people? Or how many doors could have opened for you if you had a more strategic and well-developed network of contacts? However, this building of networks and relationships isn't just about business and finance. It's also about personal development. The people you associate with can shape your worldview, your mindset, and your behaviors. The conversations you have, the ideas you exchange, all of these have a direct impact on your growth. The super rich know this. They seek out people who can challenge them intellectually, expand their horizons, and help them evolve. The quality of your relationships can be the difference between a mediocre financial life and a life of extraordinary wealth. So instead of just focusing on how to make more money, ask yourself, Who am I surrounding myself with? Who am I connecting with? How can I strategically cultivate these relationships? These are questions that will make all the difference in your financial journey. In short, building a strong, strategic network of contacts is essential to financial success. The people you associate with have the power to transform your life, whether by sharing opportunities, offering advice, or simply supporting your ambitions. Invest in your relationships and you will see your financial success grow exponentially. After all, as the saying goes, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So what kind of people are you bringing into your life?
Want to achieve wealth and freedom? Start now. Leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next tips.
Chapter 5. The abundance mentality versus the scarcity mentality.
The mindset with which you approach life, money, and opportunities is one of the most important factors in determining your financial success. The super rich have one thing in common. They have an abundance mindset. They believe that there is always more opportunity, more wealth, and more possibilities at their disposal. They don't see money as limited, but as something that can be created, expanded, and shared. On the other hand, people who are struggling financially often have a scarcity mindset. They believe that resources are limited, and so they feel a constant need to compete, protect what little they have, and close themselves off to new opportunities. This creates a negative cycle. The more they close themselves off, the less they can see the opportunities around them, and the further they move away from true wealth creation. But what exactly is this abundance mindset? It refers to the belief that there is always room for more success, more money, and more happiness. For the super wealthy, this mindset allows them to see failures and hardships not as obstacles, but as opportunities for learning and growth. They know that when one door closes, another opens, and this motivates them to keep looking for new paths, even when things get tough. This type of mindset is what allows them to take risks, invest, and seize opportunities that come their way. They are not afraid to fail because they know that failure is just a lesson on their journey to success. They are also more generous with what they have, believing that by sharing, they will create more wealth and more possibilities for themselves and others. A scarcity mindset, on the other hand, causes people to avoid taking risks, feel insecure about their finances, and constantly worry about the future. This limits their ability to see beyond momentary hardships and take risks to achieve something greater. They focus on what they lack rather than what they already have or what they can create. This puts them in a cycle of scarcity, where prosperity seems distant and unattainable. To change this mindset and adopt an abundance mindset, you need to start with the belief that you deserve more and that opportunities are everywhere. You must learn to see the world differently, focusing on potential and possibilities instead of limitations. When you adopt an abundance mindset, doors begin to open. The universe begins to reflect the positive energy you are emanating, bringing new opportunities into your life. An abundance mindset also allows you to be more creative. Instead of seeing problems as obstacles, you see them as challenges that require innovative solutions. This is crucial in the world of business and finance, where the ability to think outside the box and find creative solutions can be the key to success. An abundance mindset is a growth mindset, and it allows you to expand, to go beyond what you thought was possible. Now you may be thinking, but how can I start changing my mindset? The first step is to recognize that you are in control. You have the power to change the way you see things, and it can start with a simple shift in perspective. Instead of focusing on the challenges, start focusing on the opportunities that arise. Make a list of things you are grateful for and acknowledge how much you already have. This shift in focus is the first step to developing an abundance mindset. An abundance mindset is also essential for long-term wealth creation. The super-rich know that in order to continue growing, they need to be constantly learning and evolving. They don't limit themselves to one way of thinking or one path to success. They explore new ideas, new opportunities, and new ways of doing things. This keeps them innovative, creative, and ready to seize any opportunity that comes their way. In short, the difference between an abundance mindset and a scarcity mindset can be the key to your financial freedom. If you want to become a financially successful person, it is essential that you adopt an abundance mindset. Believe that there is always more to come, more opportunities, more success, and more happiness. With this mindset, you will become unbeatable. And when you start thinking this way, you will see how opportunities begin to multiply in your life.
You just discovered that the difference between the super rich and the super poor is not that they are the same, but that they think as an age. Every decision, every mindset, every choice can be the key that opens the door to your lasting wealth. Now, it's your turn to take the next step. A mindset of abundance, a mindset of success, is the first secret that you need to adopt. Opportunities are everywhere, but as soon as you are willing to change your way of thinking, you are able to see them. You have within yourself the power to create wealth, to change your life forever. The only obstacle is yourself and the way you face life. It's not about luck. It's not about waiting for someone to give you something. It is about understanding that the event begins in your mind. Now, you have this understanding, the next step is next. Start this page. Continue now. The time to transform your financial reality comes from the way you face your challenges. Arrived when it comes to building a prosperity mindset, changing the way you think about money, and starting to apply the teachings in this video. If you really want to achieve lasting wealth, you need to commit to your growth and to the creation of a successful future. Are you ready to start that day? I believe in you. And if you keep moving forward, putting into practice everything you have learned here, nothing will be able to stop your success. Now, join our training, start applying what you have learned, and take the first step towards a life of true abundance and fulfillment. The future is new and it starts now.